guys, I am Nicola, business change consultant at Simplify Change, and in this episode we're going to talk about one of my favourite topics, the fear curve. The fear that we imagine is always worse than the reality. Think of a time when you have had something challenging to face, an interview, a new baby, even deciding to jump from a plane. They all conjure up images in our minds of the most worst possible outcome. Our body reacts to this image in unpleasant ways. And yet usually the reality of that change wasn't that bad. This is thanks to our amygdala. The tiny almond-shaped nuclei sits deep inside our brains and it controls our natural way of responding to threat. Now, if we were to go way back to our Stone Age ancestors, it was this area of our body that served as a lifeline to us. It enabled us to switch or recognise when there was danger. And from this danger, our amygdala would switch us between certain reactions: fight, face, flight or freeze. What the amygdala was responsible for was ensuring that our bodies were primed and ready as appropriate. We still have this useful function, however, our brain cannot determine the difference between real threat versus our modern world stresses, i.e. we no longer have saber-toothed tigers charging at us, but a change to our daily lives still switches this little bad boy on. In a way that's just not conducive to 2020 and modern working. But it is crucial to respect that this still exists and recognise the kind of response someone is in when you are supporting others that may be going through a change of any kind. It's a very, very useful tool for any business change manager to consider when taking into appreciation the stages that people will go through when they are transitioning through a change. Now, before we go into the change curve itself, let's talk about neuroscience of change. Neuroscience is concerned with the structure and the function of the nervous system and its relation to behaviour and learning. It governs how a person feels, thinks and acts against the backdrop of environmental influences. In the context of change, any kind of personal or professional change, neuroscience can explain people's aversion to change and its die-hard inertia in the presence of uncertainty. It boils down to sheer instinct and a primal urge to assure survival, such as maintaining a certain social status or persevering a degree of autonomy to allow your actions. We simply like cohesion, so prefer for things to be and stay as we know. Change disrupts this pattern of cohesion that our brains naturally seek safety in, so it's generally avoided. Change induces the fear of loss, which inhibits us, as it could pose a serious threat to us. So, how does this relate to the change curve? The change curve is broken up by specific stages of grief. When a person goes through any kind of change, they will go through all of these different stages. Let's go into this in more detail. The fear curve is broken down by 4 stages. You have stage 1, where the state of stage 1 is known as the status quo. Our response in this stage is flight. We want to hide. We feel anger, shock, denial. We try to avoid and perhaps even sabotage the change that's coming our way. Any change manager who's trying to support somebody in this stage needs to give them plenty of time to adjust. People in stage 1 need information and to understand what's happening. They need a lot of support and communication to help them move on. Once they can move on, they move into stage 2. Stage 2 is known as the disruption stage. In this stage, people's response is to fight. Their action is about attacking the change. They feel anger, they feel fear, and they start to insult, blame, or even mistreat in this stage. The best way that you can support somebody in stage 2 is to listen and respond to objections that people may have. Give them clear communication and lots of support. The support needed in stage 2 is to respond to objections that people have, give them clear communication and support, mitigate any problems that people are experiencing. Listen and watch very carefully in this stage. When they come out of stage 2, they start going into stage 3, and stage 3 is when we see the impact start to get and move into more positive behaviours. This state is known as exploration. People's response in this stage is to freeze. They start to comply, and they very much shut down and accept the change that's happening to them. The outcomes you'll notice in stage 3 is that people start to justify and rationalise at this stage. It's at this point we need to give them lots of help and support. Give them people that they can turn to as their acceptance grows. Give them plenty of time to try the new systems or the change, with lots of training and lots of positive reinforcement. After stage 3, they'll move into stage 4. Stage 4 is the best place to be. It's rebuilding. This is when they start to face the change. Their actions come about defending it. They start connecting and give you commitment to the change. They're likely to persevere and mitigate at this point. And how we can support somebody in stage 4 is lots of focus in this area. Celebrate the success, make them advocates, and give them people that they can also lead by example with. Lots of praise in this stage will help people feel more positive and more encouraged to future changes that might be coming their way. I am Nicola Graham, part of Simplified Change, and if you would like more help with the fear curve, or how you can apply the fear curve into a change that you're going through, why not reach out to us at our website www.simplifychange.co.uk.